how you see yourself and what you believe about yourself shapes your entire reality. If you struggle with confidence, if you struggle with self-worth, if you don't believe that you have the innate qualities and abilities to go after things, accomplish things, or succeed, that's going to hold you back every single time. But on the flip side, if you believe that you deserve really great things and the most amazing people come to you and opportunities are always opening themselves up and you're so capable of all of this growth and change and amazing accomplishments, you're going to see those doors open. Hi, if you're new here, I'm Allie. I'm a self-development and relationship coach, and I have been working one-on-one with clients for the past 10 years. Everything that I've learned from working with clients, I want to be able to bring here to help create the changes that you're wanting to see for yourself. And today, I'm going to help walk you through how to change your self-image and your self-concept so that you can get to a place where you believe positive things about yourself and build the confidence and build the self-worth to go after the things that you want. When it comes to changing your reality, it really does all start with how you see yourself, because the beliefs that you hold about yourself are going to influence how you show up in the world. And surface level changes like faking it till you make it, or if you see somebody that has confidence, that has good boundaries, that is killing it in their career, and you try to just emulate the way that they talk or how they show up in situations, there's still that big disconnect, because at the core, you still don't believe these things to be true about yourself. You don't believe that you're a confident person. You don't believe that you're as smart as other people. You don't believe that you're capable of achieving the things that other people are achieving. So when it comes to creating a new sense of self, we really do want to focus on those core beliefs. This really starts with your self-concept and your self-image. Your self-concept is what you believe about yourself, your traits, your abilities, what you're capable of. And this can really shape how you show up in the world. It's kind of like the all or nothing beliefs that, I'm good at public speaking, I'm really not good at relationships, or I struggle with self-worth. I don't think I deserve this the same way another person deserves this. When we have those core beliefs, people can mistake them as fact and think that I'm always going to be this way, it can never change, and that couldn't be further from the truth. Your self-image, on the other hand, is the story you tell yourself and the story you tell other people. These are like the roles that you give yourself, the labels you give yourself, the narrative that you're telling yourself. I'm a daughter, a sister, a brother, a people pleaser, those kinds of things where it defines parts of you and how you would maybe introduce yourself. If you were to get out pen and paper and make 2 lists and write down what are all of my self-concepts and what are all of my self-images, this is going to be a starting off point to be able to see the sticky parts that don't feel so good, the parts that you want to change, the beliefs that may be so deeply ingrained it becomes automatic in how you talk to yourself in certain situations, how you show up, what you shift and change. Sitting down, reflecting, and getting really clear on what led you to these beliefs, what led you to a place where you don't feel so confident, where you don't believe such great things. Think about when you were younger, what messages did you get from other people, from parents, from teachers, from friends, from peers? How we see ourselves starts from such a young age. If somebody's been built up their whole life and told they're so great and always gotten positive feedback, then they're going to believe these things to be true. But if somebody's grown up where they haven't received that, it's setting this foundation where you're already questioning things about yourself. We need to understand where the beliefs came from and how these are impacting different areas of life. Let's say somebody really struggles with confidence, and as a result, they maybe don't speak up in meetings as much. They don't think that they have as much to contribute. They worry that if they say something, other people are going to think that they look stupid and they're not going to say it. But if we can break down all of the insecurities and start to believe in yourself and believe in what you have to share and contribute, and you start showing up to meetings as that version of yourself, you are going to kill it, and everyone's going to see you from a different perspective. Instead of the quiet one or the shy one, people are going to start to see like, oh wow, like that person really has a lot to contribute or great ideas. A lot of times people hold back when they're working on themselves because they're worried what other people are going to think. So we want to get clear on where things came from, how these beliefs grew, how this impacts how you show up in different areas of life. How does this show up with friendships? How does this show up with family? How does this show up with yourself and how you show up for yourself? What boundaries and limits are you setting or maybe not setting because of some of the deeply held beliefs that you have? When it comes to changing things at the core and shifting how you see yourself, what you believe about yourself, it really comes down to the self-talk and what you're reinforcing. What you believe about yourself and what you tell yourself becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. So let's use the confidence at work example. If you don't believe that you're as smart and capable as somebody else, and you go into meetings, you're consistently going to hold back from sharing your opinions, from giving innovative and new ideas, from sharing a different perspective, because you're going to worry so much about what everybody else is going to think about that. Instead of if you show up being like, I know that this is a good idea. I have X, Y, and Z to back up why I believe this, and just share it and not worry about what other people are going to think, but just speak from a place of your truth, your vision, your experience. That's going to change the way other people see you too. The more you show up and contribute, you're going to grow professionally because people are going to see you, know you, they're going to understand what you're thinking. They're going to view you more as a leader because you're contributing, compared to if you're like, oh my gosh, I struggle with confidence and I'm not as smart as this person, or their ideas are always better than mine, and you sit there in the meetings and you're quiet, you're not going to progress, and then you're going to wonder, why is everybody else growing around me and I feel like I'm not growing? It comes down to being able to take the things that we tell ourselves and work on them being more positive and uplifting and supportive, and then aligning our actions with that. So in order to really change your life and change your reality, we want to get in alignment with the core beliefs that you want to step into. We want to change that into being more positive, more supportive, more uplifting, telling yourself that you're capable of more, and then come into alignment with the external actions that you're doing. Because if our actions and our beliefs don't align, that's not going to create the changes overall that you're wanting to see. Think about it this way. The more internal misalignment you have, the harder it's going to be to create real sustainable changes over time. So if we think about somebody who wants to set better boundaries, but then they see themselves as the helper who's always there for everybody else and who's the reliable friend, this makes it a lot harder to set boundaries because there's a disconnect. On one hand, you're the helper, but the helper also is probably more of a people pleaser who's neglecting your own needs and not putting yourself first, and then trying to connect that with somebody who has great boundaries. That's a huge disconnect. We have to see ourselves as people who deserve to have boundaries and not just label ourselves as things that aren't going to support what we're working towards. As you move into clarifying and going into more alignment with this new identity, pick just a couple areas to start with. If you're someone who's so accustomed to always showing up for other people and never saying no and neglecting your needs, this is going to feel super uncomfortable when you start to get in alignment with prioritizing your needs first. If you challenge yourself and say, you know what, I know this person calls me all week long and I feel super drained after the conversation, I'm going to not answer it one time, or I'm going to take time to myself 15 minutes after work and then I'll get back to this person. Or challenge yourself to say no to one thing that you know you don't want to do. You don't need to give an explanation, you don't need to explain anything away, but just challenge yourself to put yourself and your needs first one time and then sit with that. It probably is going to feel uncomfortable at first, but just reinforce that it's okay to do this, it's okay to have boundaries, it's okay to say no. The more that you do it, the easier it's going to become, and at a certain point, the more you learn to take care of your needs, the easier it's going to be to say no and turn down other things, because that starts to feel uncomfortable to neglect your needs, because you're teaching yourself I matter and I put myself first, and that ends up feeling so much better than putting everyone else's needs ahead of your own. Or if you're working on confidence, challenge yourself to speak up. Let's say you're in a social group or you're with other people. Put yourself out there. Do something different than you normally would. The challenge is to get yourself out of your comfort zone and act in alignment with the version of you that you want to be, but work on those internal beliefs too. So when you start to sit there and be like, oh my God, this is so awkward, or I looked so awkward, or that was so weird, or it felt so uncomfortable setting a boundary, working on that internal talk and saying okay, it's okay to feel this way. I'm doing something different, but I know ultimately I deserve to speak up for myself. I deserve to have limits. I can be the confident version of myself. There's so many little things that we can do to get ourselves into alignment with whatever specific goal it is that you're working on. We want to do micro changes, so very small changes, but do them consistently over time and build on them. So you're setting the foundation of, these are the changes that I'm making and this is what I'm working towards. Give it a week, 2 weeks, a month of this. You're going to start to feel so different, and you're going to start to believe different things about yourself. The way our brains are wired is the more times we think of a thought, the more times we feel a feeling, the easier it is to do that, and it becomes second nature. So that's where a lot of times people can confuse negative thoughts or emotions that they have about themselves to be fact because they've thought it so many times. But in fact, this is just the way our brains are wired, and you're more than able to change this. You know the saying, what fires together wires together. So over time, the more you check on your self-talk, the more you shift it, the more you catch yourself before you go down that negative spiral, the easier it's going to be to go down a more positive loop and be able to build that up so that becomes your norm. It does take effort and it takes intention, but it's so worth it. If you start to spiral or go down the negative loop, tell yourself things like, this is part of the process, or I'm catching it before I go down that loop. I know where this is going and am worthy of good things coming to me. As you learn to sit in the discomfort and get out of your comfort zone and do things different, it's giving new feedback and new evidence of what you're capable of. So far, we've talked a lot about the inner beliefs that you have, and then the external actions that you're doing and working on getting those two areas to be in alignment with each other, but also how are you embodying this new version of yourself? I love the idea of embodying and becoming this new version of you, because if we think of what embodying something is, it's really becoming that new version. So it's not faking it till you make it. It's not copying what you see other people doing. It's like that version of you is going to think different, feel different, act different, show up in your life different, set limits differently. If you imagine what this version of you looks like and think, okay, I'm going to challenge myself to show up as this person, you're going to find yourself carrying yourself differently, thinking differently, catching those thoughts, even maybe how you dress or how you talk or how you carry yourself, showing up as this new version of yourself from a holistic perspective where you're not just doing a surface level change is going to be the difference between building confidence and building the authenticity and having a week or two where things maybe feel a little different on the outside, but then you go back to those same behaviors and same actions and same negative self-talk. So many times too, like people think about, okay, well, I want some kind of external validation. I want other people to tell me I'm good. I need that feedback. But people are going to give you their opinions and feedback based on their own preconceived notions, based on their own experiences, and it's going to be tainted. What truly matters is what works for you, what doesn't work for you, and learning to reflect on the experiences that you have, the thoughts you're having, the feelings you're having, how you're acting, and being able to validate that for yourself. Is this in alignment with who you want to be? Are you showing up as your best self? Instead of looking for approval from others or feedback from others, getting to a place where you can answer those questions for yourself is going to be life-changing. This way you're making decisions based on your values and what works for you, and learning to tap into your inner intuition, to that inner voice, to your inner guide, to see, does this version of me feel good? Is how I'm showing up authentic to who I am and who I want to be? Instead of somebody else who's not living in your shoes, that's not experiencing the world through your experience. We don't need that validation from others. What matters is you're growing into your best self, and all of this aligns with your values and the vision for your future. Being able to learn how to tap into that and having that time where you sit down and reflect and ask yourself, how did this feel? Did I like this? Did I not like this? Learning how to quiet other people's opinions is going to help you tap into getting into alignment with the best version of you. Being able to do this and taking the time to get to know you and what does and doesn't work for you is going to be the difference between creating the change that's going to be lasting and really becoming the best version of you and building the life that you want. If you found this helpful, I did another video that breaks down the steps to changing your self-identity and your self-image. It would be really great for you to take a look at this next. It goes a little bit deeper into some of the things that we've been talking about today. I'd love to hear your biggest takeaway, and if there's anything you want me to go deeper on, let me know in the comments. If you haven't hit subscribe yet, definitely hit the subscribe button. I'm uploading videos every week, and I would love to hear from you